We are back with another Pick'em video. It is Tuesday, January 13th in the NBA. We have a 7-game slate, some good games in there as well. And of course, I got some plays that I'm liking for you guys today. So if that sounds cool, go to leave the video a like, comment something down below. Always helps YouTube push this video out a little bit more when you guys do that. Got to go over the recap of yesterday's video picks first, and it was a winning day. So we'll never complain about the profit, 0.27 units, not much, but we didn't lose. The only thing is here is it could have been a much better day. We got hooked twice, the biggest one being Sandro, 8.5 points. He ends with 8 points, missed 3 free throws, got the 21 minutes, which was great, but I thought he would have gotten even a little bit more if the Raptors weren't getting smoked. He didn't knock down a 3. It was just a perfect storm for him just to finish up short. Again, I would have gone to this 100 times out of 100. One of my favorite reads I've had in a while. But sometimes, again, the ball just doesn't go your way, which is, I don't typically go to 1.5 units on plays. It was, I think, the first time I've done that on a normal play, and I got burned for it. So I would go to it again, to be totally honest. He usually gets there. He missed a bunch of free throws, whatever it might be. But Sandro hurt me yesterday. This would have, if this one was a win, would have been a, over 3-unit day, which would have been great. And then the other guy, Sam Merrill, great read, great, like perfect textbook matchup. And he ends with 14 points. So he did catch the 12.5, didn't get the 15 points, and didn't get the 5 threes, of course. But yeah, just could have been a better day, again, if he catches this, if Sandro comes through. And then I'm kind of brushing over James Harden, who was kind of the MVP of the night for us. Over 7.5 assists. He had that early. He had about 7 assists, I think, in the first half. And then ends with 10 assists. Him and Kawhi kind of ball out, both 30-plus points. Yeah, they were hooping yesterday, and Harden comes through for us. So again, we'll take the winning day. Again, just unfortunate that Sandro especially didn't come through for me. But we can't harp on it too much, so let's hop into the plays for today. We're going to be using Props Madness to show these plays visually, like always. If you want to check out Props Madness, super fun to use, super easy to use, in-depth, really good research tool. Check it out. Link in the description down below for 25% off your first month. And we're going to talk about Shaedon Sharpe, who this hit rate is not going to look great. We're actually taking the over 24.5 points at -118 on BetMGM. Now, why am I going to this guy? Well, the main reason is Deni Avdija is going to be out of this game, so that's the main reason I'm attacking this. I'm going to show you some crazy on-off court stats in a second, but we can talk about the matchup. 25% of his points do come in transition. The Warriors are a little bit weaker there, but this is not a very good matchup for him, to be totally honest. Pick and roll ball handling, free throws, he gets a lot of free throws. I'd like him to get the free throw line a bunch today. I think he will get at least 5 or 6 free throws today. But it's good to see that players that play similarly to him, guys that are like have a similar player type analysis, Props Madness really cool with that, have been going over their lines pretty good. LaMelo Ball, Brandon Miller, both in the same game. Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell. So it's also good to see that double guys like Garland, Mitchell, Ball, Miller going over. But even just the positional players are going over their line more than 50% of the time. I think that's a good sign, even in a bad matchup. And it's not the worst matchup in the world. Very, very mediocre for a lot of these. Is he going to knock down a bunch of threes? I don't know. It's really just going to be the shot volume here with Deni Avdija being out. I just didn't want to brush over the fact that this isn't the most amazing matchup in the world. It's much more of a mediocre matchup. You see a lot of yellow in his charts. Now, he has not been hitting this line 30% of the games, but Deni Avdija is out. And we don't have any data with Deni Avdija being out. But RotoWire actually can point this out, and it can tell you on-off court stats. Really, really cool tool. I don't shout out RotoWire enough. Really, really cheap in terms of industry standards. It's the app I use for, or I guess the tool I use for every single lineup news, like who's questionable, projected minutes. I think they're really, really good at. So check out RotoWire. It is in the link in the description down below. But the on-off court stats, I don't go into too much just because RotoWire has so much information, or Props Madness has so much information. But in instances like this, where Deni Avdija, we don't have a lot of information with him being out, it's really cool to see these on-off court stats. Shaedon Sharpe gets in a massive, massive usage boost when Deni Avdija is not in the lineup. It's huge. It's absolutely massive. And Jrue Holiday will be playing in this game, but he only played 16 minutes in his return. I don't expect a ton of minutes from Jrue Holiday, probably about 20 minutes in this game. So Shaedon Sharpe's going to have a lot of time to just go out there and do whatever he wants. He's going to shoot a million times. If you want to do his field goals attempted, it's available on PrizePicks typically and things like that. I could absolutely attack that. But Shaedon Sharpe, 40% usage boost without Deni Avdija on the court is absolutely wild. And if you're confused what that means, it just means when Deni Avdija is on the bench, he's played pretty much every game that Shaedon Sharpe has played. When he's on the bench, he's absolutely a flame, just shoots a ton of times. 26.2 field goals attempted in per 36 minutes. He should get around 35, 36 minutes in this game if it stays close. And the points is actually even crazier. 35.7 points per game, or points per 36 minutes in games, or when Deni Avdija is off the court. So it's an absolute massive boost. Look at his three-pointers, only 1.8 threes made. He shoots a lot of them, so I'm not going to attack his threes. I'm just going to the 25-plus points here, and I think it's a really, really good look. I think he's going to shoot a bunch of times. Again, not the best matchup in the world, but he can get to the rim. You can take a look at all of this if you want, but really, really, I think this is just a volume kind of play. And if he's going to shoot 25 times, 26, 30 times, whatever today, I can expect him to hopefully get 25 points. Hopefully he gets to the free throw line. This is not a team that gives up a lot of free throws, but I think he can do that too. So the hit rate doesn't look great, on this, but it's really volume on this play. And that's what I'm going to be looking at for the first play of the video. Before we move away from Sharpe, I can show you guys the actual stats for him. When he shoots 20 or more times, he's over this in 60% of games. In the two games that he shot, 25 or more times, he's over this in both the games, averaging 32 points per game in those games. And I didn't even mention the fact that Jeremy Grant's also doubtful in this game. If you go to games without Jeremy Grant and Deni Avdija, these aren't games. This is just when they're not on the court. Shaedon Sharpe still has 175 minutes to look at here, so a decent amount of data. And this actually goes up to a 40.6% usage boost and 37 points per game. So absolutely wild. The shots are going to be there tonight. I think it's all about the volume today. Jrue Holiday's also going to be in there, but limited. Probably get 20 minutes today. So Shaedon Sharpe should shoot a million times, and he's a guy that can sometimes just be horrible in terms of a shooting percentage, but I think it's just going to be all about the volume today. So liking Sharpe to just get a million shots. He just needs to get to 25 points, and in the on-off court stats, he's averaging much more than that with these guys off the floor. So Sharpe, first play of the video. Let me know what you guys think about that. Moving to the next play here, I like Keldon Johnson against the Thunder. This is Spurs Thunder around 4, and the Spurs have had the Thunder's number, winning 3 of the 3 games all season. So this is a good one to go to. I think, again, fun one to watch. But Keldon Johnson's really been taking advantage of Devin Vassell being out, which we'll continue to see today. Without Vassell, he's over this in 6 of 7 games, averaging 16.1 points, getting a pretty big boost. He's also getting a pretty big minutes boost, which I like to see, 4.6 minutes per game on average more. So he's getting around 5 more minutes per game in these matchups without Devin Vassell. Now, who's been hurting the Thunder? How are the Spurs winning these games? It's not like Wemby's been scoring 30. De'Aaron Fox has had a couple good games. It's really been Stephon Castle, who has a very good shot chart, a very similar shot chart to a guy like Keldon Johnson. And it's also been a guy like Harrison Barnes coming in and knocking down some spot ups. So if you look at the matchup here, it's a difficult one. He can't score in the paint. That's a lot of his points. 72% of his points or his shots come at the rim or within the restricted area, within 10 feet. They rank number 1 on defense in terms of the entire year the Thunder do. But without Isaiah Hartenstein in the lineup, which we'll continue to see today, that's going to be a little bit easier. The defense isn't as impenetrable in that paint scoring. And the next way that Keldon Johnson scores is going to be the spot-up opportunities, which he might get a lot today. We saw a big game from him against the Thunder. He had 25 points in one of these games, and that's when he shot 5 of 9 from 3. So I think we could see a little bit more of a spot-up opportunity, Keldon Johnson type of game, and he could thrive in that role. If he can attack the paint a little bit more without Isaiah Hartenstein, that's just going to be an added boost. But I'm not expecting him to get to the rim a whole bunch today. But if he does, again, added boost. Hopefully he can knock down some spot-up opportunities. Catch and shoot, they're very weak. They play very, very good one-on-one defense. Their hands are very, very active. Annoying to play the Thunder because they foul pretty much every time, and you can't call it every single time. So guys that have the ball in their hands a lot, De'Aaron Fox, even a guy like Stephon Castle, they're going to be getting a lot of attention, especially because these guys have beat them 3 times in a row. And I think we could see more opportunities for a guy like Keldon Johnson to get open, whether that's him cutting to the rim and getting some easy buckets, especially with that Hartenstein in the lineup, or if he's getting spot-up opportunities. So really, really liking to see this. If you want to look at the minutes as well, he should get that minutes boost, around 27 minutes per game without Devin Vassell in the lineup. And we can see games that he's seeing that much time on the court, minutes. We know what expected. This is even just 22-plus minutes. He's over this in 80% of the last 20 games. So really, really like what I'm seeing what Keldon Johnson can do in that much time on the court. Yes, difficult matchup against the Thunder. Yes, it's difficult to beat a team 3 times in a row, but I really think they're going to be focused on a guy like Fox, a guy like Wemby, of course, and even Stephon Castle has been the guy that's really been killing him, and he has this most similar shot chart to a guy like Keldon Johnson. So maybe they lock in a little bit more on Stephon Castle. Maybe it's Keldon Johnson that's the biggest beneficiary from that, and really, really liking what he's doing with this much time on the court. So Keldon Johnson, 13-plus points, minus 120 on BetMGM, for the second play of the video. And going over to the on-off court stats once again, we can see that the most minutes being played without Devin Vassell on the court is going to be Julian Champagnie, and then Keldon Johnson, and then a guy like De'Aaron Fox. And we can see Keldon Johnson per 36 minutes. This is not going to be, probably not going to get 36 minutes tonight, but per 36 minutes, he's averaging 36.7 minutes. That's about a point a minute. If I expect him to get around 27, 28 minutes today, which is what I'm expecting, that math comes out to be 27, 28 points. So I don't expect him to score 27, 28 points. All we need is 13 today, which, he could get half of that and get there. So Keldon Johnson going to get a huge boost today. A lot of players get a boost in terms of their scoring without Vassell on the court. That's obviously going to be skewed a little bit because he's going to be entering a different rotation and things like that. But I really like, De'Aaron Fox is going to be getting a lot of pressure. He's going to get doubles and things like that, which open up these spot-up opportunities. That's why the Thunder are weak in spot-ups. They're very good at playing one-on-one, but also helping and double-teaming guys that have the ball in their hands a lot. So I think Keldon Johnson can be a perfect beneficiary in this instance. And 13-plus points on 27 minutes where he's getting a point per minute without Vassell on the court, that ends up being, making sense in my head in terms of, math standards. So liking Keldon Johnson today, knock down some shots, and hopefully get this for us. Moving to play number 3, going to take an under on Marcus Smart, minus 125 on the under 12.5 points. This is available on BetMGM and what used to be called ESPN Bet, which is now called The Score. It's the same thing. But yeah, 12.5 points just seems too high for Marcus Smart. He sure get a ton of time on the court. This is a back-to-back situation. LeBron probably won't play in this game, but even without Austin Reeves, he's only over this in 28.6% of games. Without both these guys, he's only over in 1 of 4 games. Marcus Smart, a guy that doesn't shoot a ton of times, especially with a guy like Luka on his team. He's, again, last 20 games only over this in 35%. So don't have to do too much here to look at this and be like, this looks like too high of a line. Spot-up opportunities, free throws, pick-and-roll ball handling, more of a mediocre to bad matchup here against the Hawks. And they just lost, I believe, yesterday with Luka going crazy. We'll see if Luka plays today, too. That's the only thing I'm a little bit scared of. Without Luka on the court, he's over this in 1 of 3 games. But even so, not even averaging 12 points, 11.3 points per game without Luka. Now, all these guys might be out, which we haven't seen yet. I guess we did see it once, and it was still under. 32 minutes, only shot 11 times, 3 of 11. Marcus Smart, not a very volume shooter, and at the same time, he doesn't knock down many shots at a high volume clip, good percentage. So Marcus Smart, much more likely to stay on the under 12.5 in any given situation. Going to the injury report, I don't even think Luka's on it yet, but I know he mentioned it in post-game. Yeah, I guess he's questionable. He mentioned it post-game yesterday. He just went, crazy against his last matchup, and he got the loss, so he's probably a little frustrated. So if anything, if he goes out there and plays, I think he puts his head down and tries to score even more points. And Luka's been a different beast this year when he's in his bag, and we could see that against the Hawks here. Now, Marcus Smart, again, 12.5 just seems too high. It's a line that's almost sketchily too high, weirdly too high. Makes me think that, Luka Doncic might not even play in this game. So this could be a line that actually goes up throughout the day, but I doubt it. Marcus Smart, again, even with all these guys out, he's not like their first option in terms of scoring. It's just going to be the volume if he's going to shoot higher than 40%, which I don't think does very often. And we can actually see that splits. We can go to, or stats. We can see his field goal percentage. If he's going to shoot more than, better than 40%, I bet this hit rate goes up, but there's not many games. 53% of the games, so even if over 40%, he's not doing this much. Only 13 games this season. We're much more likely under 40%, 16 games. And again, he's only over this in 12.5% of those games. So Marcus Smart kind of fading him in terms of him being not a volume shooter, one, and also just not a very efficient shooter at the same time. There could be a lot of guys out tonight, but still liking this under opportunity for a guy like Marcus Smart, especially if Luka goes out there and ends up playing this game. But probably no LeBron, definitely no Reeves. But even so, Marcus Smart, much more of a hustle player, distributor on this team than a volume shooter. And even just for kicks, I gave him the expected minutes, which is 27 plus. With all these guys potentially not playing, he'll probably get a lot of time in the court. And even so, he's still only over this in 40% of games. So he's not over this in 50 or more in games that he's seeing a whole bunch of time on the court. And the last thing I'll point out is shooting guards. This Hawks team has kind of been locking them down. Christian Braun, 13.5 lines, 0 points in 25 minutes. Tim Hardaway Jr., Bruce Brown, RJ Barrett, the only guy that's gone over since December 29th in that shooting guard position. And RJ Barrett, a guy that's probably the best scorer on this entire list, maybe Miles Bridges, but Miles Bridges stayed under. So a lot of shooting guards, a little bit more difficult to score against this Hawks team. Trae Young, not a weak spot in their defense anymore, which is a good thing to see for a guy like Marcus Smart, who might not be able to score as much. Maybe they just don't even look at him and just let him do whatever he wants, because again, not a very volume shooter, but not very efficient either. But yeah, just liking this under. I think there's more avenues for the under. You got the blowout potential. It is a 3-point game, but there's blowouts in the NBA all the time. You can also talk about the back-to-back situation. He's played a couple back-to-backs so far this year, under in both of those games, very, very consistently, 32 and 34 minutes as well in those games, just didn't shoot very well. So Marcus Smart, a guy that's dealt with injuries, a guy that's not getting up there in age, but he's not a young dude anymore, and back-to-backs can hurt a guy like that, especially a guy that doesn't score much anyway. But yeah, Marcus Smart, fading him. He used to be a Boston guy, which of course you guys know I am, but at the same time, just doesn't look great for him today. Next thing I'm looking at here is going to be Donte DiVincenzo to knock down some threes, over 3.5 3-pointers. I know it sounds high, but most books have this around -110 value, and that's what I'm going to take the best value I can get. This is on BetMGM right now. Over in 50% of the last 20 games. Very, very good matchup for him to get some threes here. Catch and shoot, 22 ranked or 22nd ranked. 22nd ranked in terms of above the break, spot up the rank 23rd. And this is going to be a good spot for him to get a lot of volume, especially considering Anthony Edwards is going to be out of this game. So we should see a lot of volume from Donte, should shoot a whole bunch of threes. We can see without Anthony Edwards this year, he's over in 57% of games, and the least amount of threes he's had in a game without Anthony Edwards has been 3. And you can see in these games, 11 3-pointers attempted, 9, 10 3-pointers attempted, 13, 12. He did have one game where he had 5, but then it was right back up to 8. So he had one outlier kind of with 5, and then he's been pretty much 8+ in all those games. If you go to 3-pointers attempted and you actually just get rid of Anthony Edwards' just in games without Anthony Edwards or with Anthony Edwards, he shoots more threes without Anthony Edwards. Games with 8+ 3-pointers, he's over this in 80% of games. So he can knock them down. Very, very good, efficient 3-point shooter. And if he's going to get a lot of volume like this, hopefully he can go out there and knock him down, especially in a matchup that's pretty weak to allowing above the break threes, where that's the grand majority of his 3-pointers. 60% of them come from there. So really good matchup for him to knock down some threes. Again, on-off court stats, RotoWire, I'm kind of addicted to these on-off court stats right now. But without Anthony Edwards on the floor, Donte DiVincenzo, 524 minutes, so a lot of data kind of behind it. Averaging 35.6 points per 36 minutes. Again, that's going to be a little bit skewed. He's going to get a lot more defensive pressure and defensive attention, but also averaging around 4 3-pointers in those per 36 minutes. We can go to the projected minutes as well, and he's projected for 36 minutes in this game, or a different team, another team. Projected for 36 minutes in this game. So he should get a lot of time on the court. Again, 8+ 3-pointers. He's over this in 80% of games anyway. If you're going to go to the plus 30+ minutes in these games, it takes a little bit of a hit, but the long story short is he's going to get a lot of time on the court. He should jack up some threes, and much more likely he lands on 4 threes than under here from what I'm seeing. So should get a lot of volume. Pretty good matchup for him to knock down some threes. Without Anthony Edwards, that's going to be a huge boost here. No Rudy Gobert as well, so it should be a lot of shot volume from him. And on-off court stats show him that gets a lot more volume, and even just games without Anthony Edwards, because we have a few of them, over in 4-7. The least he's made is 3. So the volume should be there. Just got to knock him down, and he's a good 3-point shooter, efficiently wise. So really liking Donte to knock down some threes. You could go to the points as well. You could ladder this up as well for him to get some more points. It is only a 3.5-point spread, even without Anthony Edwards and Gobert in the lineup. So hopefully this stays close. Hopefully gets that 36+ minutes in this one as expected. And I think he can knock down a lot of shots for us tonight. Before we jump into the recap of today's video, if you're not on Pickett, I don't know what you're doing. It is a free app for you guys to sign up. When you sign up using my code RichPicks, you also get $3 or $100, just Venmo'd, PayPal'd, whatever it is to you, without any strings attached. So definitely go check out Pickett. It is the best bet tracker out there. I can tell that I'm up 539.2 units, and it's ups and downs. Yesterday in my Discord and a lot of my DFS platforms, I did horrible. So that happens every once in a while, but on the long run, that's what you're looking for. I'm up a lot over the last 2 years, and I attribute the tracking all to Pickett. It's all verified. You just sync your sports books. Very, very seamless, very, very easy, and it's fun to know if you're winning or losing. At the same time, if you're losing, you got to change some things up, or if you're winning, you're doing something right, and you can take those bad days on the chin, knowing you got a lot of history to provide, backing that up, that you're doing. So Pickett, again, totally free for you guys to sign up. Sign up using code RichPicks, the link in the description down below. Get $3 or $100 just by signing up. You want to be checking your bets, and you want to be tracking if you're doing good or if you're doing bad. So recap time, we talked about 4 plays in this one. Shaedon Sharpe over 24.5 points, should get a ton of volume. Keldon Johnson over 12.5 points, minus 120 on BetMGM. I think he's going to get a lot of volume today too. And then Marcus Smart under his 12.5 points. Doesn't get there anyway a lot. I think this could be a blowout situation potentially too. And then Donte DiVincenzo to round it out, 3.5 3-pointers. Without Anthony Edwards, he should get a lot of shot volume, and he's been knocking them down, especially without Anthony Edwards on the court. Good matchup for him too. So that will do it for us. Best part about these videos is they're totally free for you guys to enjoy, and you can fade me whenever you want. If I do the breakdown and you don't agree with it, don't take the play. But if you do, watch the breakdown and it makes a whole lot of sense, then I have a pretty good track record at being a profitable sports bettor. So hopefully you guys do enjoy that. And if you got to this point of the video, go ahead and leave it a like, comment something down below. The views are down, obviously, just because I took a little bit of a break during the holidays. But they should get back up as we start cruising. And I think we've had 2 winning days in a row. Very, very small winning days, but our luck will change or turn around. We've had a lot of hooks recently as well. And, just love making this content for you guys and appreciate anyone that supports it. So that will do it for me. Check out Pickit, of course. They have a mobile app as well. That was the bet tracking app that I'm partnered up with. Again, $3 or $100 just by signing up using my code RichPicks. Check out Props Madness. This is the tool I was using all throughout the video. You get 25% off your first month when you use my code to sign up. And check out RotoWire. That was the bet tracker, or not the bet tracker, the lineup news, projected minutes, on-off court stats, which we had a lot of fun messing around with today. Really, really cheap tool in terms of industry standards. And they also have player props or pick props like DFS platforms where you can go in and check like DFS, sleeper, PrizePicks, Underdog, and see what their projections are. And it's a really, really cool tool. So check out RotoWire as well. But yeah, that will do it for me. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys tomorrow, hopefully recapping another winning day. And hopefully a nice sweep would be great. We're due for one at this point. So good games today. Not smaller slate, kind of like a mediocre slate, 6 or 7 games today. And should be a fun one, especially that Spurs Thunder game. That's the one I'll be tuned in for sure. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Peace out.